It's been a while, Columbus. What's happening? It's been a while, Columbus, but nonetheless, I am happy to preach the word. As you all know, the last time I stood up here, our theme, we were doing a revival. This was back in June, right? One of the greatest revival ever in Columbus, right? We baptized 13 strong souls in 1 week. Can you believe that, right? People can't even get that in 2 weeks in an evangelistic campaign in the United States. But in 1 week, we baptized 13 souls. And that was one of the greatest revivals because so many things. This church was like no other. That week, our church did service. Our church uplifted. We had guests coming in and out. The whole time, the struggle is real. We made noise in this community. But then I left. And today I am back again to give a word. Maybe a word that could encourage us in one way or another. My word is called stand with me. Stand with me. But before I get into the word, I kind of want to update you, all right? I've been a while. I've been gone from Columbus for a little bit. So I want to update you all on what happened. So one of the major milestones that happened before I get into the word is that our NAGSDA youth, we celebrated our 20th anniversary. Not just our 5th, not our 10th, not our 15th, but our 20th anniversary. Now, the 20th anniversary was spectacular. And I want you all to do this, right? Since some of you all were not able to make this 20th anniversary, for the first time ever, we live streamed the youth camp. So what I want you all to do is that when you have the time, if you want to see what your children were learning at the youth camps, all you have to do is just go to our facebook.com/NAGSDAYouth, and you'll be able to see our photos, our videos, and the live streams of everything that went on at the youth camp. And then on top of that, if you see there, I was also in New York. We also did a radio show where we got to evaluate the youth camp. As you can see there, you can go on YouTube or CB Radio, and you'll be able to listen to the thoughts and reactions from those all around who were tuning in. Another thing, if you go back to my slide, please. Another thing that's there is that, as you all know, I had been away from Columbus, and there were two things that were major that my brother and I were doing. The first thing after the youth camp is that we were invited to the West Coast Ghanaian camp meeting and youth camp. So as you can see there, we went there. The theme was Give Me the Bible. We were doing the youth side as Dr. Pipim was doing the adult side. And as you can see there, it was a spectacular event, and we were able to witness to the young people that are out in California, Arizona. And I'm sharing this with you all to see some of the work that people in your own church are doing. And then another thing that we also did, as soon as we finished our Arizona trip, we also went to the Illinois. We went to the Illinois, and we were doing also a retreat at a Kenyan youth retreat. We went to the Illinois. This group, they invited us last year, and they loved us so much, they brought us back again this year. And we did a Kenyan retreat. As you can see there, our theme was Plug into the Power. And I'll tell you one great thing about our theme there. In a 4-day retreat, we did a baptism on Sabbath morning. And I want you to understand this, right? There were only 100 people that attended this youth retreat. But understand what happened here. On Sabbath morning, after 4 days, we made an appeal for baptism. And let me tell you the number just in 4 days. In 4 days, we baptized 20 souls at this Kenyan youth retreat. Amen? So I want you all to understand that people are looking for answers in their lives. And the whole thing is that they are looking for us Christians to be that message unto them. And I'll get into a little bit about what happened at this Kenya retreat. But the final thing I want to add is this. As you all know, since last year when we came and stood to you all that we're doing Ghana, this year again, our organization, as you can see, our team members in that poster, this year we are organizing another set of mission trips in December. But we're not just doing one. This year we're doing two. This year we're doing Tanzania, which is in East Africa, and then we are also doing Ghana. So what I'm doing is that I want to share this with you because what we're doing is that we are recruiting several people that would like to come on this. As a matter of fact, there were 2 Columbus people that came on our trip last year. Where are the 2 leaders that came on our trip? If they could just raise their hand real quick. That's right. Elder came on our trip, and where's the other one? Elder Caleb? That's right. They both came on our trip last year. So I want everybody to understand this. This is an opportunity we have presented to you all. If you want to do a mission trip, come this December. You see the team here. We'll be doing Tanzania, and we will also be doing Ghana. And obviously, we're also looking for monetary donations. So if you want to donate, I'll be here this afternoon. I'm only here for this Sabbath only, and you can also give us your donations as well. But of course, obviously, today there is a word to be preached. And I want you all to look at the word today. As you all know, what has been our theme for Columbus, Ghana? What's been the theme? Back to the basics in Christ, right? I didn't hear everybody say that confidently. What's our theme, everybody? Back to the basics in Christ. That has been our theme for the whole year. I don't know if we have fully mustered that theme or that theme has been recognized, but I want to preach a sermon that goes on our theme for the year, back to the basics. So today, what I'm going to be answering with that theme is back to the basics on having an identity that can win souls. Everybody see that? Because the whole goal of my presentation is this. The presentation is this. I am leading you all to one question and one question only. And this is the question. Is your identity winning souls for Christ? I want everybody to say that. 1, 2, 3. Is your what? Is your identity winning souls for Christ? My presentation has one question and one question only. The message is entitled, Stand With Me. What's the message entitled, everyone? What's the message entitled? Come on, Columbus. Y'all got to do better than that. What's the message entitled? This is a dialogical sermon. That means that it's all right to respond back when I give the message, all right? Stand with me. In some other context, I would have called this sermon, No One Man Should Have All This Power. Everybody, let us go through the text and see what it has. And like I always love to do, if you want to join the sermon and join this conversation, all you have to do is use the hashtag CGSDA Experience. Use that hashtag on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, so that you can join the conversation in this message. And of course, to those who are live stream and tuning in, we want to thank you for joining Columbus, Ghana. Let us get right into the word. Stand with me. You see, there's been what we call a crisis, right? In the world we live in today, there is a severe crisis. There are people who are homeless in the world that we live in today. There are people who are struggling to figure out who they are. We have seen men turn into females, Bruce Jenner into Caitlyn Jenner. We have seen all kinds of different things in our world today. But the real question is, will the real Christian please stand up? Because this is what's happening, right? We have seen that though the world is going through a crisis, what is happening here is that where are you in this crisis? That's why back to the basics, I want us to understand what is our identity in the crisis the world is going through. So everybody, lead with me as I go through the text today. I'm only using one text and one text only, all right? So everybody, I want you all to understand this. As you can see, in 1 Kings chapter 18, there was a crisis going on. Everybody, I want you to understand the picture here. 1 Kings 18, there was a crisis going on. And someone had to answer this crisis. Just like in the world we live in, there is a crisis going on. And let me summarize what was going on in this crisis. If you look at verse 18, verse 1 to 4, the opening chapter of 1 Kings 18, verse 1 to 4, it says that after a long time, in the 3rd year, the word of the Lord came to Elijah. And it says this, it says, go and present yourself to Ahab, and I will send rain on the land. So Elijah went to present himself to Ahab. And it says that now the famine was severe in Samaria. Everybody understand what's going on. Don't miss this, don't miss this. Right? So the crisis that is going on at that single point in time during the time of Elijah was that there was a famine in the land. Right? When there is a famine, what does a famine mean? A famine means that there is no rain. A famine means that you can barely get crops. Farmers are struggling. People are struggling. Everybody understand there was a famine with God's people. Now everybody understand what's going on. Now in this famine that is going on, somebody had to go and figure out what was God's plan for them in this crisis. So as we see in the text here, Elijah gets called on by Jesus Christ. Now I want you to understand what's going on here, because I'm going to use a text that is going to help us understand our identity in winning souls for Christ. So everybody understand this. So what we see that in the text here, in my key text, it says this. So Ahab sent word throughout all Israel and assembled the prophets on Mount Carmel. Everybody understand this? 21 says, this is the main passage for my text this morning. It says, Elijah went before the people and said, how long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him. And then this is my clinching and closing text right here. But it says, the people said nothing. Oh, come on, somebody. I'm preaching here this morning. It says, how long will you waver between two opinions? Right? There's a crisis going on. There's a famine going on. But it says, how long are you going to waver? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him. And the people should have been shouting, should have been saying all kinds of things. But the text says the people were silent. Now everybody understand. Elijah is standing in front of a crowd. Now everybody understands that when you're standing in front of a crowd, it is the most nerve-wracking thing, right? There's some people who can't do what I'm doing right now, right? There's some people, and they get in front of a crowd, they become nervous, they start stuttering, they start doing all kinds of things. Or when people are in front of a crowd, that's when they want to use the time to show off. You know what I'm saying? In Sabbath school time, everyone acts like they're a theologian, right? So everybody understands this. What happens here is that when Elijah stood before this crowd, Elijah should have been intimidated. Elijah should have been scared. But there's something that I love about Elijah. Elijah had the boldness to stand in front of this crowd. And when he stood in front of that crowd, I'm looking at the text and I'm saying, no one man should have all that power. Elijah had power. Because the thing is that when I come back to my key text, Elijah does not go and sound intimidated towards the people. Elijah does not seem like he's scared in front of the people. But Elijah goes up to the people. There's all kinds of people, drug dealers, murderers, hustlers, people selling, all these kinds of people. Elijah stands up in front of them and says, how long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him. How does a man of that nature get the confidence to even say that in front of such a crowd of diverse people? Everybody, I want you to understand this. I only got 6 points in my text, only 6 points, and I'm going to take this sermon home. Number one, in order for people to stand with you, one must have a track record of standing up for Christ. Oh, come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. One must have a track record of standing up for Christ, because I understand this. When Elijah went up to the people, understand what's going on here. When he says, how long are you going to waver between two opinions? The people said nothing because they understood the track record of Elijah. Oh, some of you all don't look convinced. Let me help you understand what it means to have a track record. Let me help you understand. So 2 weeks ago, I was flying to St. Louis, right? I was on a plane. Now, you know your boys always fly, right? Always fly. I'm sitting down. Now, as I'm sitting down in the plane, right? Now, the plane, you just want to get there in peace. Everybody understands this? I just want to get to my destination. I'm about to preach the next day. I want to make sure that I'm ready for this retreat that I'm about to do. So everybody, I'm in the plane. I've been in the plane several times. So as I'm sitting down in the plane, now, you know, sometimes your neighbors who you sit down next to in the plane can be a little annoying, right? Either they want to talk too much to you when you're trying to sleep, or they're trying to do something of that nature. So everybody understands this? So I'm sitting down. Now, you know, in the flight, they always start off, what do you want to drink? You're right. They get the Sprite, and then, you know, they're never going to serve any kind of food. They're only going to serve peanuts. So I'm sitting down on the plane. Now, this is where my test of standing up for God comes. Everybody check this out. So I'm over there drinking my Sprite. Now, my neighbor had a glass of beer that he was drinking. So I'm sitting down, minding my own business, trying to sleep. All of a sudden, all I see is that the plane kind of shook a little bit, and the beer you was drinking spilled all over me. Oh, I was upset. I was upset, right? I looked at him. I was like, I looked at him. I was so mad. I was so furious. Ghanaians would say, I was about to slap him. Right, check this out. I was ticked off, right? I kept looking at him. I was like, man, I need to give him a piece of my mind. I need to curse him out, right? But everybody understand this. At that moment, I was about to lose my Adventism, right? I was about to lose the Jesus Christ I've been serving, because there's no way he's going to spill beer on me. I mean, he didn't spill water. He spilled beer on my clothes. Now, I want everybody to understand this. At that moment in time, I should have lashed out at this man, right? I should have got angry. I should have probably even just to revenge spilled something back on him. But everybody understands what happens in the text, and understand what happens here. Though I could have done all these different things, I realized that if I'm going to have an identity with Jesus Christ, if I'm going to be a soldier of Jesus Christ, wherever I am, I need to make sure that I am a representation of Jesus Christ. Oh, come on, somebody, right? A lot of times, the reason why we are not able to win souls for others is because people cannot see Jesus in you. Can I break this down a little bit? A lot of times, what happens here is that sometimes our life does not speak of Jesus that we have been serving. Because I want you all to understand this. Elijah, when he stood up among the people, he said, how long are you going to waver between two opinions? The reason why the people said nothing was because Elijah had a track record of standing up for Christ. Right? Everybody, what kind of track record? Come on, somebody, my thing is not working. Come on, somebody. You please get that working for me, please? So everybody check this out. Man, messing up my illustration. All right. Come on, Phil. All right. God is still good, though. Well, anybody, go to the next slide for me. I want everybody to look at Elijah's track record. Elijah's track record. If you put it up on the screen for me, please. Put it up on the screen for me, please. Come on, CGSEA, we need to do better. Oh, man. Y'all messing me up. Lord have mercy. I want everybody to look at this. Elijah had a track record of standing up for Christ. And I'm going to show you through the text. If you look at the text preceding 1 Kings 18, it's 1 Kings 17. Now, if you look at 1 Kings 17, I want you all to understand what's going on here. Elijah's track record immediately made the people recognize that this man was different. Because we look at 1 Kings 17, we understand that Elijah, as you can see here, the first thing in chapter 18, that they call Elijah is the troublemaker. Everybody understand why they call Elijah the troublemaker? I'm teaching you, right? Everybody check this out. Elijah was known for being bold. So when Elijah said, how long are you going to waver between two opinions? They said nothing because they knew that Elijah was serious about his Jesus. Everybody look at it. It said that Elijah was always bold because we see that before they had this famine, Elijah had come and gave them what Lord had told them to give them to. Everybody understand this? And the second thing is this. Elijah was a person who obeyed God's instructions. So everybody understand this. The reason why they were willing to at least listen to Elijah because he had a proven, everybody understand this, a proven track record of serving Jesus Christ. But let me help you all understand something here, right? The reason why some of us don't have a track record of standing up for Christ is this. I said that number one, you have to have a track record for standing up for Christ. But I want everybody to see this, right? The reason Elijah was able to stand before the people, don't miss this right here. The reason why he stood up before the people and the people said nothing, I want everybody to understand this here. You can't get people to stand with you if you're a part-time Christian and not a full-time Christian. Oh, somebody. A part-time Christian cannot defeat a full-time devil. Oh, come on. I know I'm preaching here today. A part-time Christian cannot defeat a full-time devil. You see, this is the problem with a lot of us here. The reason why people cannot see Jesus Christ in you is because you don't take your walk serious with Jesus Christ. Right? You treat Jesus as a part-time God. Everybody understand this, right? Let me help you understand what it means to be a part-time worker. When you are a part-time worker, I understood this, right? Because I've worked in corporate America. I understood this. When you are a part-time worker, you don't get the same benefits as a full-time worker. Right? You don't get the same hours as a full-time worker, right? You don't get the same kind of benefits and luxuries of a full-time worker. Let me take it back to our educational setting. Understood this. If you are a part-time student, trying to get your education will take you a longer time. A person who is a full-time student can finish in 4 years. Everybody understand what's going on here. In order for people to stand with you, you cannot be a part-time Christian, but a full-time Christian, because a part-time Christian cannot defeat a full-time devil. The devil is working, y'all. Devil is working. The devil's not taking time off. What you mean the devil's taking time off? Right? The devil wants to mess up your family. Right? The devil wants to make sure that your family doesn't live for God. He wants to mess up your job. He wants to mess up your relationship with God. And you tell me you're a part-time Christian? Everybody understand this? Elijah was able to stand before the people because he did not have a part-time walk with God, but a full-time walk with God. Right? Can I come to our context and illustrate what part-time is? Right? A lot of us came to this country to chase the green. So guess what? Right? Instead of worshiping here on Sabbath, we're going to be working on Sabbath. Come on. I ain't speaking to no one in here. Right? The fact that in order to take your walk with God seriously, some of us only become spiritual once we get into these doors. Right? When they see us outside of here, nothing reflects Christ. But I want us to understand, if you're going to have a track record of standing up for Christ, it begins with you not being or not showing off about Christ, but being about Christ. Everyone understand this? Right? A track record is not based on accomplishments. Right? Some people think that, look, because I am elder of the church, oh, I am good to go. Because I am the deacon of this church, I am good to go. The Lord sees my accomplishments. I want you to understand this. Serving God or a track record is not about accomplishments, but about being about Christ, right? Right. Everybody understands, right? It starts with your attitude, right? There's sometimes you could come to church just for somebody to move down the aisle so that you can sit down is a problem, right? They don't want to lose their seats, right? You go out and scratch somebody's car in the parking lot, they're going to call the cops on you, but they just heard the message I preached. Everybody understands this. In order to have a track record, it's not just having accomplishments, but being about Christ. And the second thing is this: Elijah got the people silent because Elijah was not a part-time Christian, but a full-time Christian. Well, let me get going in my text, right? I want everybody to see the second thing. This is a deep text. It says, Elijah went before the Lord, went before the people, and said, how long will you waver between two opinions, right? I still got something on the first part. Elijah went before the people and said, right? If we look at other translations of the text, some texts will say he went before all the people. Now, if we're saying all the people, understand this. If there's a famine going on in the land, it's not just affecting Pentecostals. It's not just affecting Adventists. It's affecting every single body. Everybody see where I'm going with this? If you're going to win souls for Christ, I want everybody to understand this. Christian churches have a track record that stands out, but is not convincing because we preach theology and not missiology. Oh, that's some big bro. Let me break it down for you. Everybody check this out, right? I realized, right, I was born in Barron Springs, Michigan, before I was raised in New York City. Everybody understand this? There is nothing more difficult for the white people than an African name. All right? Anybody can testify to that? That there's nothing more harder for the white people than your African name. So I remember I was in 5th grade. So I'm sitting there, back then we had to take the cheese bus, right? So they're on the overspeaker, right? So they always mess up my name. They'd be like Kofi. They always mess up Kofi, right? 4-letter words. They can't, white people can't get that. Everybody check this out. So it came to my last name. So they were on the loudspeaker. They were like, can Kofi 222, Tsunami 222? Oh, you know you are. Just come to the office. Right? It always amazes me how white people can say Shisheshki, Podolsky, Schweinsteiger, all these names, but they can't say a common African name, right? They calling me Tsunami instead of Twumasi, right? They mess up someone, John, they say Asamoah Gyan, right? I knew this family friend, Oting, they said Ortega. So all these different things, they butcher an African name. I want you all to understand this. Our African name makes us stand out. But everybody understand what's going on here, right? I said this is my point right here. I said Christian churches have a track record that stands out, but it's not convincing. Everybody understand that. Our African name is so hard that we stand out. Once they see that name, oh, they can tell you an African. There ain't no question. You can try and act Americanized as you want. Once they see that name, they know you're African. Everybody check this out. Our name stands out, but to the white people, we haven't been able to convince them to say our name. Everybody understand what's going on here. One thing why our churches do not have a track record of serving Christ is because this: though we stand out, we are not convincing because we preach theology and not missiology. Everybody understand what's going on here? Everybody understand what's going on here? Right? People know as Adventists as rule keepers. Everybody check this out, right? This is why we haven't been able to successfully win souls in our identity. They know us as people as rules. They know us as people that don't wear jewelry, that come to the Saturday, everything is reverent. You know, you got to act like you're at a funeral when you're at church. You know, people know us as people of rules. Everybody check this out. And though that it can be commendable in some aspects, let me tell you something. Our theology sometimes gets in the way of us serving Christ. Because I realize this. So we have become a church that focuses on issues and not ministry. Oh, come on. I'm stepping on dangerous ground. Right? We focus on issues and not ministry. We focus on shaming people but not saving people. Everybody understand this, right? Right? Business meeting. Everybody check out business meeting, right? Everybody business meeting, right? Everybody check this out. Business meeting, right? If we about to disfellowship somebody, if the person didn't come in the morning, they're going to be there in the afternoon. Everybody check this out, right? They didn't come for the ministry. They came for the shaming. Everybody check this out. When it comes down to business meeting, everybody check this out. Everybody will have an expert as to how we should deal with that person's sin. Everybody understand this. We have become experts on other people's sin. Come on, somebody. Right? Everybody thinks they're a theologian when they come to somebody else's sin, but not their own. Everybody understand this. Business meeting. We will line up all the way to the back. Everybody will have an opinion. We will stay here for 3 hours. Check this out. When it comes to our department reports, right? When it comes to trying to figure out what is personal ministries doing, what is stewardship department doing, check this out. Our report leaders have nothing to say because they worked up their energy on shaming people but not doing ministry. Right? You come here, right? Everybody on disfellowship somebody or attacking somebody's sin, everybody gonna raise up their hand. Everybody, me. I want an opinion. When it comes to ministry, stewardship department, how are you guys reaching out to the community? Everybody's silent. No one got nothing to say. No one got nothing to say. The reason why we don't have a track record is this. We focus on our theology, but not missiology. Right? If I wasn't wearing a tie, right, we will be discussing about how the preacher is not wearing a tie. We wouldn't discuss about the sermon. We'll discuss about how he's not wearing a tie. Right? We will discuss not about saving or trying to do something for that single mother, but we'll talk about how that lady had premarital sex. We're not going to look at how we could save this person, but we're going to look at shaming this person. Right? A person don't come to church for a long time. Everybody check this out. Right? The fact that he came, we're not going to commend that, but we are going to attack him for, why haven't you come to church? Everyone understand what's going on here? I'm keeping it real. Because the whole thing is this. We are focused on issues and not ministry. We focus on theology, but not missiology. Right? You come down to our business meetings to spend money is a headache, right? The treasurer gives a report. We try to spend money on ministry, right? Tell me this, right? People will make all kinds of noise. We can't use our money for this. We have all these bills. We have all these things to do. Are you telling me that it costs money to set somebody free? Right? Are you telling me that it costs money for us to go out and try and save a homeless person? It costs money to try and go out and preach God's word? I want you all to understand this. The reason why people do not want to worship the Christ we serve is because we have a track record that stands out, but it's not convincing. Let me tell you all why T.D. Jakes and all those Sunday preachers are filling up the churches. Let me give you all the secret. They're doing ministry. You can attack them for their prosperity gospel, but they're doing ministry, right? They're buying cars for those in their congregation that can't get a car, right? They're buying houses for those in their congregation that can't buy a house. Let me tell you this. Once we start being about missiology, if I'm trying to win somebody to Christ, all I got to tell them is, look, we're a church of ministry. I bet you they're going to come into this church building. Because the whole thing is this. We don't have a track record of missiology, but theology. Everybody, let me get to my fourth point. Everybody, look at this. But it said, Elijah went before the people and said, how long will you waver between two opinions? Can I get to something here real quick? There's something I love about Elijah's identity. Fourth point. In order for people to stand with you, one cannot be selective as to who you choose to stand with you. I ain't getting no amens for that. Because We have become a church that is selective as to who we should minister to. All right, let me help you all illustrate that, right? Now, I'm a lifelong New York citizen for life. Now, I understand something, right? If you ever been to First Ghana, First Ghana is in South Bronx. South Bronx is one of the craziest neighborhoods in the Bronx, right? So I'm there with our youth. We're doing ministry in South Bronx. I'm telling them, this is me, the preacher, man. I'm telling them, look, we're going to go out there. We're going to give out, what we're doing is that we were giving memory verses to people in the community, right? So I'm like, hey, we're going to go out there. We're going to give out memory verses. We put this in the paper. We're going to give this to memory verses, and we're going to bless people with it. Everybody check this out. I gave them this speech. I pumped them up. I'm like, you all ready? We're going out to do ministry. Let's do it, right? All my First Ghana kids, you can see they're scared, but, they're going to still do it. So I'm like, hey, let's go ahead and do it. So my brother and I, we doing this. Now, South Bronx is crazy. It's dangerous. So we out there in New York City, back in the mid-'80s, everybody was wearing baggy clothing, right? Not the skinny jeans everybody wears today. Everybody was wearing baggy clothing. So all of a sudden, it's raining. It's pouring raining, and one of my youth have an umbrella. So I see them. I'm like, hey, you see them fellas over there? Go out there and, give them one of the things that we're giving out. We're giving out memory verses to everyone. And he had an umbrella. Everybody check this out. When this youth of mine went out to these group of people, I could tell he was nervous, but I told him, hey, God is with you all the time. I'm over here scared for the boy, but I'm like, man, you go ahead. I'm praying, but I'm not showing that out. So he goes out there, and I love it, man. My man, he's confident. He's confident, chest all out. He's walking there. I'm like, that's right. Go ahead, my man. Go ahead, my man. He goes there, gives the text. He said, hey, I got a text. We're from, First Ghana SDA Church. I want to give this to you. He gives the text. The dude looks at him like, is he for real? Looks at him real serious. And now, I told you, my man had an umbrella in his hand. He first took the text and then stole his umbrella as well. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Now, my youth was going to be wet. He was going to be rained on. He tried to do God's word, but then he got robbed doing God's word. I want everybody to understand what happened here clearly, right? So my man, he's feeling down. He starts walking back, and then one of the dudes who in that crowd said, yo, son, hey, come here real quick. Son, come here real quick. Come back. So now my man's even more nervous. If they robbed him, what they going to do to him right now? He's even more nervous. And I'm standing there, I'm like, man, I need to go and try and rescue. So he says, come on back. So my man is scared. He's nervous. The dude says, what's in this paper? Then my youth said, well, it's a memory text. The dude opens it up. He reads it. He's like, man, thank you for this word. And matter of fact, I'm going to give you back your umbrella. Everybody check out what's going on here. Right? We are selective as to who we choose to witness to. Right? People will see these kind of individuals and be like, nope, they don't need no saving. Right? They messed up. They done this sin. God is not going to save them. Let's ignore them. Everybody understand what's going on here? The problem with us Adventists is this. Why people are not drawn to our identity is this. Is because we have successfully discriminated against those that we should be ministering to. Right? The whole thing is this. The reason why some of us are very selective is because we feel that we have all the theology and no one else deserves it. If you're messed up, if you've come from a messed up home, you look like a thug, anything of that nature, you don't need God's word. But I'm going to tell you this young man, though he got his umbrella stolen, though he was about to mess up his life, this man still accepted the word of God. Our problem is this. Us Adventists, when we're doing evangelism, we seem to be only talking to ourselves. Right? Adventists talk too much. We think we are better than everybody else. But I want you all to understand this. When Elijah, everybody don't miss this. When Elijah went up before the people, the text says that he did not go to those that looked like they were going to be saved. He did not go to those who seemed to look good, smell good, and dress good. But he went to every single one that was going to at least listen and ponder about Jesus Christ. if your identity is going to be in somewhere and being an effective Christian, everybody understand what must happen here. In order for people to stand with you, one cannot be selective as to who you choose to stand with you. Right? Let me bring it down to our level, right? I think I'm still in the cloud. Let me bring it down to our level. There's certain people in church who won't hang out with certain people because they don't dress like them. Right? There's certain people who are from this tribe in Ghana, so they feel that they're better than everybody else, so they won't associate themselves with. Right? Everybody understand this? What we have done in church and what we have managed to do is to be selective as to who we choose to stand with us. But I'm so happy. Elijah Dunn did the opposite. My boy Elijah Dunn did the opposite. He didn't go in front of his own people. He didn't go just in front of Adventists, but he went to every single one. In order for people to stand with you, one cannot be selective as to who you choose to stand with you. Well, everybody check this out, right? Everybody seen this movie, Coming to America? I know y'all done see it. No one see Coming to America, right? Eddie Murphy. Everybody check this out. All right, I want to get to a sub-point that I have for point number 4. Everybody check this out. Sub-point. I understood this. When Elijah went before the people, Elijah said this. This is all Elijah said. He didn't go and give a sermon. He didn't go out and preach. Elijah said this. How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him. Everybody understand what's going on here? Elijah did not force people to his Jesus. Right? We have a mindset of forcing people to our Adventism. We have a mindset of forcing people to try and be a part of our Jesus that we serve. Everybody understand what's going on here? But I understood this. In order for people to stand with you, you must understand that Jesus is not a God of force, but a God of love. Right? Everybody, Coming to America, Eddie Murphy, Victoria, come up and assist me real quick. Victoria. I want everybody to understand this. All right? So my man, Eddie Murphy, right? One of the hottest comedians ever, right? Delirious, Raw, so many comedic movies. Now, everybody check this out. I'm illustrating this because I want you all to understand what it means of how we have successfully forced people, but we have not tried to bring love unto others, right? Everybody check this out. So Eddie Murphy, right? Coming to America, my man needs a fine queen. Everybody check this out. He needs a fine queen. So Eddie Murphy, him and his friend are there. They're trying to find a queen. So his parents had what we call arranged marriages. Everybody understand this. If you've seen Coming to America, have arranged marriages. So at a certain point in time, if you're from Zamunda, what happens is that you have to get married. And the person you have to get married to, your parents pick who you have to get. You don't have a choice. Your parents pick who you got to get married to. So everybody understand this. So I don't think Eddie Murphy was kind of feeling that. Right? So everybody understands this. So let me tell you how badly of a robot he was about to marry. So when they bring the queen in, when they bring this lady in, and then Eddie Murphy's not convinced. He's not convinced this is the one. So Eddie Murphy takes her to the back room, and Eddie Murphy asks her these couple of questions. Eddie Murphy said, jump. Bark. Everybody understand what's going on here? Thank you, Victoria. Eddie Murphy, right, got upset and he came to Queens, New York to get his bride because everybody check this out. His parents were trying to force somebody on him, but were not going to let him choose who he wanted to be with. Everybody understand this? When Elijah stood in front of the people, Elijah did not force the people to follow his Jesus. Everybody understand what's happening here? He did not force them to follow Jesus, but he gave them a choice. And the choice was this: if you're going to follow God, follow him. But if you're going to follow Baal, follow him. And the people said nothing. Can I tell you why the people said nothing? Why he stunned the people? Was because he was not preaching a force kind of theology, but a love kind of theology. Right? This is some of our churches. The reason why some of us, why we cannot successfully win souls for Christ is this. We go out there trying to force people to serve the God that we serve. Right? We go out there and force them, right? We breathe all these kind of theology on them, right? We give them Ellen White books. All these different kind of books, right? My whole thing is this. Once people see that you are about God and you are showing his love, they're already going to be drawn to be worshiping wherever you're worshiping. I want you to understand this. Those who work hard don't have energy to smile. You gotta understand this. As Adventists, sometimes we work so hard to force people. And because we work so hard to force people, right, we sometimes get worn out and burned out. But I want you to understand this. Once people see that in your identity, that you serve a God of choice, they are always going to be drawn to serve the kind of God you worship. Elijah stood up before the people because he was not forcing them, but was giving them a choice. I'm about to get to the close of my sermon. I want us to go to point number 5 real quick. I want us to break this part of the text, right? It's a deep text. It says, how long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him. But the people said nothing. I want everybody to understand what Elijah did here. In order for people to stand with you, your identity can be someone's conversion without them knowing who Jesus really is. Come on. Can I preach today? Can I say this? That the only Bible some people are ever going to read is your life. Oh, come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. The only Bible that people are ever going to read is your life. You can't be a part-time Christian trying to win others, right? You can't be out there fornicating and trying to win others. You can't be out there hustling and trying to win others. In order for people to be converted to the kind of God you have, your identity got to speak loud. Because the only Bible that people will ever read is your life. It's your life. They probably ain't going to pick up and read Revelation. They probably ain't going to read Psalms and all these books in the Bible. The only thing that people are ever going to read is your life. Can the real Christian please stand up? Everybody check this out. Let me understand what's going on here, right? Let me do this real quickly. Baal. This was Baal. They were following a god called Baal. Now, they had been in a famine for 3 years, no rain. Everybody check this out. When God sent Elijah, the Baal that they were serving was supposed to be a person who was a god of the sea, meaning that they shouldn't have been in a famine, right? Baal's mother was the goddess of the sea. They shouldn't have been in a famine. Now, everybody check this out. Whoever believed in Baal, Baal would do this. Baal will enable the earth to produce crops and for people to produce children. Baal was supposed to bail them out of their famine. But everybody check this out. At that moment, for several years, the people had no rain. For several years, the people were living a life of drought. I want everybody to understand this. If Baal was working for them, the people would have said something. But they were still in a famine. And I want us to understand this. In order for people to stand with you, asking people to make about a decision about Jesus, when your identity is about Jesus, does not need to work up an explanation as to why you should need Jesus in your life. Everybody understand what's going on here? When people see that your identity is about Christ, your identity, you would not need to explain to them the Christ you serve. Can I illustrate this real quick? Everybody check this out. Last week, we preached up a storm. My brother and I, we preached up a storm. And check this out. 4-day retreat. 20 souls got baptized. Everybody check this out. Now, I had never seen a baptism like this. I'm at the river. We making appeals. As soon as we pray, someone is coming into the river. We making appeals. People are tearing, are shutting down. They're crying. They're coming out into the river. Now, I'll tell you something, right? Now, I told you this was a Kenyan retreat. So, obviously, there's no white people in that retreat. Everybody understand what's going on here? But we are at a center where there are all kinds of different people. So, everybody understand this? So, as we're there preaching and making appeals at the river. There are people out there who see the identity of who we are. Does everybody understand what's going on here? I go up there, I say a prayer. I'm like, God, I know there's somebody here that still needs to get baptized. All of a sudden, from nowhere, the whole crowd is stunned. We see a white guy coming down to the river. Now we thought he was joking because my man had his eyes open like he was Jesus coming into the river. So we thought he was joking. So everybody understand what's going on here. Right? At that time, we did not know if this man was for real or for not. Right? We did not know if he was faking or trying to clown around. I'm looking around to see, if somebody bet him or told him to go out there and do this. Everybody understand what's going on here, right? Right? Because this man came in like he was white Jesus into the pool. But everybody understand what's going on here. This man, after we got baptized, I said, let me go and holler at my man real quick. He says, you know what? As you guys were baptized in the souls, something came over my heart that I needed to get baptized as well. This man had never heard a sermon that we have been preaching throughout the retreat, had never fellowshiped with us throughout the retreat, but he was drawn to us because of our identity. Let me tell you something. Elijah was successful because he did not go out there not having a track record, but people knew him of being bold for Christ. Everybody understand what's going on here? Let me give you one more illustration. I was in Canada. We were doing a crusade last year. My brother and I were doing a crusade at the Ghanaian church. And check this out. So we're there doing ministry. My brother and I, we're on the streets, man. We're going hard. All of a sudden, we come across this Muslim lady. My brother has a conversation with her. Check this out. She did not know who we were. But the conversation she had with us, this is what the Muslim lady said. She says that, I want to serve the Christian God you all serve. Identity. Identity. Your identity is pivotal in winning souls. Because in order for people to stand with you, your identity can be someone's conversion without them knowing who Jesus really is. And let me close this out. Let me get to my sixth and final point. Something in the text here. Powerful text. Elijah stands up. Final point. Elijah stands up before the people. All kinds of people, drug dealers, hustlers, murderers, all kinds of people. Elijah says this. How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him. The people could have just thrown out and lashed out at Elijah. They could have cursed Elijah out. They could have booed Elijah out. They could have tortured Elijah. But it says that the people were silent. Why were they silent? But can I break that down real quick? Why were they silent? Everybody, this is my final point. Don't miss this. Don't miss this. In order for people to stand with you, your identity should shock people and immediately make them reconsider what their life with Jesus can be like. Everybody understand that? In December, we had an election. Now, ain't nobody thought that Donald was going to win. Nobody thought the one who was saying you fired on TV was ever going to win. No one thought that this man who can talk and degrade women, who can come on camera and say whatever he wants, was going to win, right? And Hillary, I think she felt like she got it, right? Because the thing is that if Barack Obama came and said all those things that Trump said, there was no way Barack would ever win in 2008. Well, everybody check this out. Donald Trump, no one thought he was going to win. Everybody was like, nah, Hillary got it. Hillary's going to lead us to the promised land. Hillary got it. On the day of election, when the ballots were counted and the ballots were closed, the man who we never thought would be president became president of this great America. I saw on social media, people were going nuts, right? The Canada immigration site had closed up, right? Everybody, on WhatsApp, Ghanaians believe anything you put on WhatsApp. So people are putting that, hey, they're checking you out, they're deporting people home. Everybody's scared, right? People coming to church Wednesday prayer meeting, right? They're praying so that Trump doesn't deport them back, right? Everybody's nervous, right? Once somebody gets stopped by a cop, right? They tell the person, look, man, don't you know Trump is president, man? Hey, don't mess with me right now, man. Everybody was scared. Everybody understand what's going on. All right, we something. Everybody understand what's going on. In order for people to stand with you, your identity should shock people immediately and make them reconsider what their life with Jesus will be like. When Trump became president, People who don't have green cards were shocked to death, right? They're like, my American dream is over. I can't build that house in Ghana no more. It's over. Everybody check this out. That same kind of shock Trump had for people to now reconsider their lifestyles is the same thing Elijah did when he stood in front of the people. He shocked them so hard. The fact that they said nothing, he made them reconsider who Jesus can be in their lives. As I'm coming to a close, my presentation had one question. One question only. Elijah proved to us that no one man should have all that power. But this is my question. My presentation was leading to one question. Is your identity winning souls for Christ? Can I look at Kwame and be drawn to Kwame's church because Kwame is a man of God? Can his outside life still lead me to try and be a person with God? Elijah, on that fateful day, when he gave them this call, the people said nothing. And that day, when there was no rain in the land, God brought down rain. God ended the famine, ended the drought, because Elijah was not just a man who was not of God, but had a track record of God. Was not a man who was a part-time Christian, but was a full-time Christian. Was not a man who did not live a double life, but lived a life with God. Elijah was about my Father's business. Today, I'm making an appeal. As we sing our closing song, I'm pressing on the upward way. I want us to understand that today is your identity going to be a soul winner for Christ? Is your identity going to speak louder than words? Because today, I want to press on the upward way. I want to press on the upward way. No heights are too far for me, because I want to plant my feet. I want to plant my feet on higher ground. But I can only plant my feet on higher ground if my identity is about Christ. Today, as we all stand up at this moment, as we all stand up and get ready to sing our closing song, play that softly for me. As we get ready to sing our closing song, the song leader could come and help me out. I want everybody to understand this. I want to make an appeal. As we sing the first stanza of the song, I want us to think in our heart. Y'all done heard the preacher preach. Y'all done heard a lot of sermons. But today, are you going to make your identity about Christ? Are you going to stop being a part-time Christian and be a full-time Christian? Are you going to stop that double life and start living for God? Are you going to recognize that God can do so much for you right now? Are you going to recognize that the only Bible that people will read is your life? Today I'm making a call, because I want to press on the upward way, because I want to plant my feet on higher ground. Today, I don't want to just plant my feet on higher ground. I want each of us to plant our feet on higher ground, because today our identity is not going to be confusing, but it's going to be with Christ. This time, as the song leader, where's the song leader? If you come up real quick and sing, I'm pressing on the upward way. Just the first stanza alone. And then after that, I want to make this appeal, because I want to do a special prayer of dedication. And I'm going to do two. And I want us to listen to the first one. The first one is this. After the song, if you're drawn forward, if you want to plant your feet on higher ground, because today you want to make sure your identity is not confusing, but is with God. If you want to have your identity to people to see you and see that your Jesus is the one I need in my life, those are the people I want you to come forward so we can do a special prayer of dedication for you. As we sing just the first stanza, after that, I'll make this appeal to you all. Make it two appeals. Let's go. As my father comes on up, I want to make an appeal, right? As we're singing this song in our hearts, keep on playing, keep on playing. As we're singing this song in our hearts, play a little louder. As we're playing this song in our hearts right now, I want you to understand this, that as you have witnessed today, Elijah was able to convince a nation because he had an identity with Christ. Today, some of you in your jobs, people won't be able to recognize that you have a Christ because nothing about your life proves or shows that. Today, your life, people in your schools, in your jobs, in your classes, wherever you are, won't be able to recognize Jesus because Jesus is not on you. But today, you want to convince a nation that there's a mighty God that you serve. Today, I want to make an appeal wherever you are. I want to do a special prayer of dedication for you all. As my father comes on up, I want to do a special prayer of dedication wherever you are. As we lead into the second song, I want you to come to the front so we can do this special prayer of dedication. That to you, back to the basics. Back to the basics in your identity. As we sing this one more time, wherever you are, I'm calling you to come to the front so we can do a special prayer of dedication for you. As we sing it one more time. Wherever you are, I'm calling you to come to the front. Special prayer for you. Come on up. Come on up. Come on up. God bless you. God bless you. Come on up. You want to make sure your identity is not confusing. Come on up so we can pray for you. Come on up so we can pray for you. Wherever you are, come on up, come on up. We want to pray for you. Special prayer of dedication. As we sing the song softly in our hearts, wherever you are, I'm calling you to come to the front. Today, you want to make sure your identity is about Christ. You've fallen off, but you want to make sure your identity is about Christ. You're not even there yet. But you want to make this proclamation that I want to have my identity rooted in Christ. When people see me, they will see Christ. I want you to join my brothers and sisters up here. Join my brothers and sisters up here. As we get ready to pray, join my brothers and sisters up here. We're going to sing this song again. We're going to sing the stanzas. And I'm calling out to those, number one, that want to have the identity in Christ. But number two, we're now calling out, as my father's here, several of us college students who are going back onto campus, going back to face another tough academic year, another year of being in the books once again. You want to make sure that the Lord is with you in your books. At this moment, every college student here, the second appeal is this: we want to do a prayer of dedication for you all. So wherever you are, as we sing the song, I want you all to come to the front. As we sing the song, college students going off to college, we want to pray for you that God will be with you in your studies and God will help your identity, that out there you still be a representation for Him. At this moment, we're going to sing the stanza one more time. My father is here. We're going to pray for all the college students. And for those who are struggling with the identity as well, you want to come onto the front so we can pray for you all. We're going to sing this one more time. All right, this time, we're getting ready to pray. And my father gets ready to give the prayer. My first appeal was today, as all eyes are closed right now. The first appeal is that today you've heard the message. You want to have the same boldness as Elijah. You want to change the world just like how Elijah did. I'm calling you to come up. Calling you to come up. You want to be that hard representative. When people see you, they see Christ in you. I want you to come on up. Then my second appeal is for the college student. Every college student in here, we want to pray for you that as you go back, that the Lord be with you as you further your studies. And that the Lord be with you to make sure that your identity is about Christ. Because the only Bible that some will ever read is your life.